All right, so here we go. So this is our base plate, and we're going to take the sweep hand shaft, or second hand shaft, and what we're going to need to do is slide it underneath this until it seats in that hole. Then we're going to take this right here, our minute hand sleeve, and we're just going to place that right on the second hand shaft. These gears should mesh right there. Next thing we do is take this right here, which is our setting gear assembly, and we're going to put it right on this post here. We want the gear that's on it to be facing up. Those gears are going to mesh right there. Next thing we can do is we can put the power indicator where it goes. What we want to do is that right there, that step has to contact that right there. This little post is going in right there. So we go there, and we got it. Now I'm going to move this out of the way, and I'm going to put the hour hand sleeve on, just like that. All right. Then what we got to do is take the set shaft and put this thing right here, called the set shaft sleeve on. And we're going to drop that down into this hole right here. Now, once I have this situation, I'm going to take my front plate, and the trick is to hold this in place while I put the front plate on top of it. And I'm trying to, of course, get everything lined up, and it's probably not going to happen. Okay, so I've got most of it lined up. What usually will happen is the power indicator, and this thing right here, will not go into the front the first time. So once I've got it like this, I'm going to take these screws, put them in here to hold the front plate to the base plate. What I usually do is put them in there and then jostle around the power indicator shaft until it seats before I tighten these 3 screws down all the way. So it's looking to me like I got it the first time, and the power indicator shaft is seated in the front and the back. We'll find out in a second. So I'm just tightening these down loosely for now, and I'm going to check and see that the power indicator is seated there properly. I can do that by pushing on this and looking at it. And it looks like I've got it in the back for sure. It might be a little bit off in the front, so I'm going to push it. It just went in. Now that it's seated in there correctly, I'm going to hold my fingers like that so it doesn't slip out. Now when I do this, see how it moves up and down, back and forth, then I know I got it the way I want it. So now, keeping it clamped tight, I'm going to tighten down these 3 screws. And now I'm cooking with gas. All right, so now I've got the back plate and the front plate assembled and everything in place. I'm going to flip this over here. And my next step is going to be to put this spring on the set shaft assembly. Now after that, it gets a little bit fidgety. These set posts, I'm going to go over here. This one goes like this with that one facing up. This one goes like this with this one facing down. And there's a number of ways to do this. One way is just take your rotor. The gear right there is going to go right in that hole. So I'm just going to slide that in there. And then I'm going to take my coil and I'm going to place it on top of this. Now, the set gear shaft has to come through this hole, and this post right here has to go through that hole. So that's something to think about. So, and then these parts of the coil are going to go around the rotor. And what I typically do at this point, it's hung up. This post right here is hanging it up. So I got to shift it a little bit, let it fall back in there. No big deal if these pop out. You can just put them back in. What I do a lot of times is I'll take toothpicks and I'll put them through to hold this in place while I'm starting the screws. So I take one of the field screws, go like this, and then I'm going to tighten this one down, not all the way, just loosely, and then this one should be lined up, and I'm going to take this one and put it down and screw it down loosely. Now, the reason I'm screwing it down loosely is because these tabs on the spreader posts that are pointed up and down, they actually need to go underneath. So you see how this one's pointed down? What I want to do is push this one underneath the rotor. And if it's too tight, that won't happen. This one is the opposite. This one was facing up. All right, I'm going to push it in until it goes underneath the coil over here. And then once I've done that, I can go ahead and tighten the field screws down. And that's going to hold everything together. And once I'm at this point, what I can do is then put the face on. The face is going to go on there. And then it's going to start with the hour hand. And what we want to do is line up these hands with 12 o'clock, all of them. So these just press on. I'm going to line that up with the 12 o'clock. Then the minute hand. And then finally the sweep hand. Now, very importantly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold this to the side and look at it. And I'm looking for conflict, okay? Because if there's a conflict where the hands are going to knock into each other, I want to gently bend them so that they all have their own space to move. It looks like they're all good right out of the gate. So, with that going on, I can hook up electricity and see what I got. And with the sweep hand, we can see that we've got movement. So we can also test the power indicator. You see that it's red right there. If I go in here and I push down, it flips to white. What should happen when I disconnect the electricity is it should go back to red. If that's important. Might not be important, but that's how it's supposed to operate. Now, once I've got the face on and I got the hands on, and I can put the lens on, put the bezel on, and then last step, feed my cord through here, put this on over, attach it with the two screws, and then screw my set knob back on there. Remember, set knob is more than likely going to be reverse threaded. So usually it's righty-tighty, unless it's going to be lefty-tighty. You got to turn it counterclockwise to screw it down on there.